Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 32 of Hello, Friends. Last Christmas. My name is Kyle, your host. Welcome back. Welcome to the season 4 opener of Mr. Robot. I'm excited for this one, guys. Season 4, of course, is the most recent one, but only seen it once, only saw it when it aired. So, really excited. Don't remember a lot of it. We're just going to kind of jump into it here, guys. But real quick, welcome to Project Potter. If you haven't seen the show before, this is the Mr. Robot review show. We are almost done. We're approaching the finish line, but we're doing a quick recap. We're doing a White Rose, and we're doing a score. As always, you guys already know the deal. We're 32 episodes deep now, guys. So jumping right into it. We start off with Philip Price and Angela. It kind of cuts right back to that great speech and that sad speech that we saw at the end of last season with Philip Price telling Angela that he is her dad. And he's saying, like, White Rose conned you and you need to relent. You need to accept that, like, you got played and hopefully you can live with it. And it picks up right where that is. So it's like there's a previously on, and then it's cool because it shows that same scene, and then it doesn't like cut to black or start the episode. We're right in it. And this is a continuation. And Angela says she wants retribution, and he's like, no, you need to understand that you need to let it go. And man, this is a heavy scene because we find out that Angela says, I've seen her machine. I know how to make it work. She's like, or I think she says it doesn't work. Angela's like, we're going to take down White Rose and we're going to expose her. And Philip Price grabs her and he's like, shut up. He's like, stop talking. And, we think he's just being like kind of a tough father figure, but we then find out right after Angela goes to like walk away. She's like, nothing's going to stop me. And then she just has a look where she looks off camera and you can tell she's like, she realizes something and we don't know what that is yet. And there's really tremendous acting by Michael Christopher because he says, man, I wish you hadn't said that. And he understands the magnitude of the situation. We then find out the Dark Army comes into shot. Michael Christopher, this beautiful shot. It's super tragic and sad, but amazing job by Sam and the cinematography crew. Michael Christopher is walking on, I guess it would be the left side of the frame. He's walking towards the camera. And Angela's like, I'm not going to run. She sits back down on the bench there. And then Dark Army comes in. There's two henchmen. And Angela's just sitting there. And as he's walking away, he pulls a wire. So he was wearing a wire. He tried to tell Angela, like, hey, just live with it. Just live out the rest of your lives. He was trying to save her. He tells her before that, I brought you here to protect you so she wouldn't hurt you, but I can't protect you when you say things like that. And it's so sad because he pulls out the wire and he's heartbroken, and then they shoot Angela in the head. And oh man, it's just like, it's a beautiful shot, like beautiful landscape. But it's so sad. And it's like, he knows, Philip Price knows the consequences. He knows that like he says, he can't protect her when she says, like, I'm going to stop White Rose. And Angela's just like, man, she just knows what's about to happen. Michael Christopher then goes in, or I should say Philip Price. He goes in. He's clearly distraught. I mean, he just lost his daughter. Smashes a vase. He's unraveling. We really we've never seen him like this. He's freaking out with Angela before she gets shot. Where he's like, please beg for your life. Maybe we will get out of it. And Angela says, like, release all emotion and you'll be okay. And she's like, aren't you good at that? And it's like, man, it's just super sad because it's like, they never really were able to connect until the end. And then he tried to save his daughter and he knew what was at stake. And he knew that he tried to stop Angela from saying what she was going to say, and she didn't know. And man, it's crazy. So yeah, he's really obviously upset. White Rose calls and he's like, man, you didn't give me enough time. We could have helped her. He's like, you coerced her. She was your puppet. And White Rose is like, no, she made her choice. And it's just, man, White Rose is, which we know from last season, but White Rose just cold, ruthless, whatever it takes to get done. I mean, at the end of last season, if you guys remember, last episode, we talked about how White Rose takes out her right-hand man because she's working with Elliot and she's doing whatever it takes to win. And yeah, man, Michael Christopher just knocks out of the park here because he's so clearly upset. And White Rose is like, oh, you're not mincing words today, are you? And he's like, yeah, he can't even say the words like "you killed her." Like when he says "killed," he like barely gets the word out because he can't believe and can't come to the reality that Angela is dead. Um, and it's just crazy. So we do cut to White Rose, who's on like her like remote island or like beautiful spot where that TV reporter came or whatever last time, and she's like, they're like, oh, we did confirm Elliot's hack, that shipping hack to move the project to the Congo. That's going to work, no problem, but it's going to take 2 months, right around Christmas time. And White Rose is like, cool. And then we're going to terminate Elliot because he served his purpose. And like the woman, like the woman that is like working for White Rose next to her is like, Elliot needs to be like trained not to bite the owner. Like he needs to know that like he can't step out of line. And she's like, all right, we'll send him a message as to what will happen if he does step out of line. And we find out that they end up sending Angela's head blown off, or basically a picture of Angela confirmed dead. So that's how Mr. Robot and Elliot find out here. So then we get the Mr. Robot title card. We then cut to it's like Christmas time there, and there's this guy, there's like an office party, this guy, Freddie Lamar, I think his name is. And, he's drunk and he's having a good time there. He gets a package. He goes into his office. It's a videotape. Apparently, Freddie is not such a good dude after all, because he has been apparently masturbating to underage girls, which that's a no-go. And then like playing it back or recording it or something. So basically, we later find out in the episode that Mr. Robot and Elliot, they got dirt on him, on Freddie. And so that's how they found this. They basically blackmail him, but it's really awesome sequence because he gets a phone call and they're like, Freddie, this is what you need to do. You need to go to the train station. He's like, you need to do all these instructions and stuff. And he's like, who is this? And he goes, this is Mr. Robot. And it's really, really cool because it's Mr. Robot talking on the phone there. This guy goes to the train station. Mr. Robot is in the station, and Dark Army's like chasing him down, and he's like, go to this terminal, buy this. He's like, all of your electronics, throw it into like the guy that's like playing the banjo or whatever on the subway. Really, really awesome. And he's like, go down to the last train, last car on the right. And then it switches over to Elliot, and we see Elliot in the train, and it's really, really awesome because Mr. Robot and Elliot are working together. And if you guys remember at the end of last season, they said like, we need to work together as a team. Elliot says like, I jumped, like he came to the realization, and Mr. Robot was like, from here on out, we are a team. And last season they were so split apart. And this season it's like, we're back, baby. It's like, not only do they trust each other, but they're working in tandem. It's awesome because like it's obviously just Elliot, but it's Elliot doing the hacking while Mr. Robot's doing the negotiating, and they're working together and they know where each other's at. And it's really, really awesome. So Freddie goes to meet Elliot eventually on the train. And he's like, oh, I like, tell me what you know about White Rose or whatever. We find out that this guy, Freddie, has been like transferring paperwork to Mr. Zhang, and he didn't even know who Mr. Zhang was. And Elliot's like, yo, you're working with White Rose. And this guy had no idea, apparently. He's like, I just signed the papers or whatever. And so he's like, this is the real deal. Like, dude, you're in some shit. But he's like, we need to find out like the heart. We need to get to the heart of Dark Army. He's like, we need to take down Dark Army. And they're trying to figure out how to do that. And Elliot turns out that he finds out that Cyprus National Bank is like the heart, where it's like that's where all of their like funding is going. That's where they're like shipping money and shit. I don't know exactly how it works, so I'm not gonna like talk out of my ass or think I know what I'm talking about. But basically, they're like Cyprus National Bank is the real thing. This guy Freddie is kind of endangered for his life. He does forget that his Bluetooth badge, he forgot to take that off there. So Dark Army actually tracks him to the train. Elliot's like, dude, you got to go to this address there. It's really cool. It's like an action sequence there where like music's playing and Elliot's on the phone, and this poor guy's running for his life. And Elliot's like, dude, I'm gonna like leak that video to like your family and your wife if you don't follow my orders there. And this guy eventually figures out like, oh, you can't protect me, can you? And Elliot's like, Freddie, what are you talking about? And he realizes that, he can't be protected from Dark Army. And so he's like, why would I help this guy when I'm going to die anyway? So Freddie's got the gun. And it's really, really awesome because like Rami's yelling and he's like, Freddie. And then he just hears a shot. And then of course, Freddie is there's like an aerial shot and Freddie is, well, he's donezo. And so they get a contact, James Godin or something. I forget the name, but he doesn't get the address because Freddie is like, hey, I need to go back to the office to get the address there. And Freddie ends up killing himself. So We then cut to Tyrell Wellick, and he's taken over as CEO of eCorp. And if we remember last time, guys, Elliot sent the code to reverse 5.9. So actually, Freddie does get into it. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping out of order, guys. But again, this is what I do. We're 32 episodes in now, so this is what happens. But he does show like the news on the taxi, and it says like 5.9 is reversed, and we're seeing like all these jobs being added, and it's great, and everyone's like, oh, the economy's going up, and it's crazy because it's like 5.9 never happened. So Tyrell Wellick is because it was sent to the eCorp's recovery team, everyone thinks Tyrell Wellick like spearheaded that recovery team. But as we found out last season, Philip Price told him, Tyrell, you're going to be the CTO, but that's just the title. And so poor Tyrell, he finally is CTO. It's like all he wanted all this whole time. And it cuts to him like sitting back in his chair because he just knows it's just a stupid position. And his assistant comes in and she's like, you have a meeting for this. It's like a bunch of meet and greets. And it's all just basically bullshit meetings. And Tyrell knows that. And so she's like, oh, I just want to say congratulations. Like, you're a hero to so many of us. And Tyrell just knows, like, this means nothing. And he's like, everything I've wanted for so long, it's just bullshit. And it's crazy because he's like seen in the news as like a hero and stuff, but he knows he didn't do anything. He knows Elliot was the one who saved it. So it's really, really interesting to see, like, Tyrell's been so obsessed with being CTO. I mean, he killed Sharon Knowles for that position. And when he was with Joanna, like, that was their goal, is to get CTO. And he's finally got CTO, and it doesn't mean shit. And it's really, really cool. So great job by the group there. We then cut in on Dom, and poor Dom, man. If you guys remember, like, she's now working for the Dark Army. She has to clean up Santiago's mess, and like she can't do anything because remember, Irving told her last episode in the season 3 finale, like, if you don't do this, we will kill your family. And he's like, I know all of your family members and they're all gonna die. And so she's in rough shape. She's staying at her mom's house and she's paranoid, and there's a van outside and it's like a remodeling guy, and she takes her gun out and she goes over and like the guy's just doing the bathroom, and he's like, and she like hides the gun right away. And her mom is like, everything okay? She's like, Dom, what are you doing? She's like, I told you we were doing the bathroom last week. I don't know why you're freaking out. And this poor guy's like, yo, dude, I'm not trying to get involved in anything. So that's like a whole little bit there. But she's like, hey, Janice is coming over later. So, tidy up and I'll see you tonight. And it's like, we'll get back to that. So we cut to Elliot and Mr. Robot, and again, they're working together. This is awesome. They have sort of like FBI had, where they have like all the sticky notes up there. They're trying to figure out like how to take down Dark Army. And it's really great, like I said, because Elliot and Mr. Robot are working together and they're talking to each other. And they said, it took 2 weeks to get dirt on Freddie. We don't have time. As we learned in the kind of the opening bit there, White Rose intends to kill Elliot once they move their project to the Congo and his hack works. Like, he serves his purpose and they're going to kill Elliot. So Elliot knows that the clock is ticking, and he knows that as soon as they do that, he has no value to them anymore, because that's their whole goal. And so he's like, yeah, it took too long to get dirt on Freddie. He's like, we have this contact for Cypress Hill Bank, but he's like, we can't do the research because it's going to take too much time and we're going to be dead. And he's like, we got to go after it. He's like, it's all focus here from here on out. So they do get an address here, and they're basically like, we're just going to go to the address and just wing it. And Mr. Robot's like, if this goes bad, it's not going to end pretty. And he's like, well, we're going to be dead anyway, so there's really no point. Darlene does come in there before they leave back at Elliot's apartment, and she is like coked out. And poor Darlene is she's not handling Angela's death well at all. And she's like, hey, I think I saw Angela. And Elliot's like, dude, he's like, Angela is dead. And it's really cool because it's Elliot and Mr. Robot, and there's actually like a part where Elliot like dips out and Mr. Robot comes in. And so it's almost like a play where like they're really learning on how to, like, which one needs to talk to Darlene. Mr. Robot is like, hey, Darlene, Angela is dead. We know that. Elliot sits on the couch and he's like, do you hear yourself? He's like, you're so fucked up right now. He's like, how much coke did you do? And she's like, none of your business. And he's like, dude, you need to get it under control. And then he gets in her face and as Elliot, and he's like, Angela is fucking dead. He's like, you need to accept that. And Darlene like freaks out and leaves. And Mr. Robot's like, why didn't you just show her the picture of Angela that White Rose sent us? And this is the picture of her, obviously her being shot. And he's like, I can't do that. It would break her heart. So he, like, even though he's telling her that Angela's dead and he knows he has proof, he doesn't want to show that yet to Darlene. He can't show Darlene yet that Angela is dead 100%. And Elliot is kind of like, he's not mourning right now. He's literally just like, there's a job to do and I need to save my own life. And so he's like all focused, and Darlene is just having a rough time. So that's a sad scene, because he's like, yeah, it'd break her heart. And it's like, man, it's tough, because it's like Angela was a mess. No, Darlene is a mess. So it's like those two are, and poor Darlene has been having such a tough time since the hack went down, honestly, with Cisco. And ever since Cisco went with Dark Army, it's been crazy. But there's a bit and a really cool sequence where, usually Elliot's talking to us. Elliot hasn't said a word to us the whole episode, which is crazy. And it's actually Mr. Robot who's talking to us in this segment. And he's like, hey, I know it's usually him that does this, but he's like, he's focused right now. And he's like, Elliot still needs you. He's like, you're a friend. He's like, that's what you are, right? And he's like, so I'm going to tell you what's happening or whatever. And he's like, stay with me. This is like, we need to do this. So they go to the address there. Elliot and Mr. Robot show up. And there's like security cameras, and it's like a quiet building. But they're like, hey, we have a delivery for James, or whatever the guy's name is. And they're like, oh, okay, 7th floor, like head on up, 7th floor. And they go up there, and again, they're like, this is the quietest Manhattan building I've ever heard. And like, okay, but they go up there, and then he goes to knock on the door, and the door is already open. And it's like, it's very clear something is off right away. So like the camera pans, and there's like price tag still on the lamp, and there's like a photo frame, but it's still got like the fake photo in it where it says like deluxe edition, like the sample photo when you buy a frame. There's like fake fruit on the table, and like it's very clean, nothing is dirty, there's nothing out of place. And they're like, oh, it's very obvious that something is off there. And obviously this guy isn't home there. They figure out pretty quickly, there's nothing in the cabinets, there's dust on the table, and they're like, oh, this was a setup. And then Elliot's like, this place is a honeypot. So like they're just using this basically like Red Wheelbarrow was. And so there's a great sequence where the guy, or like the front desk guy, he's playing Don't Worry, Be Happy. And there's two guys that go out and they take Elliot and they like drag him out. We then cut to dinner with Janice and Darlene and the mom, and everything seems good. They're talking about like a hot church lady or something. And then she's like, hey, Darlene, can you just help Janice like take out the macaroni? And Dom's like, dude, it's just the macaroni. She can do it herself. And she's like, Dominique, don't embarrass me. And she's like, okay. So she goes out there. They go to Janice's car, and she's got like a tiger head in her front seat. And she says she does something for work, and I forget what she says, but I thought that was kind of weird. But she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Look, Dom's like, I think my mom's trying to set us up. And she's like, I got the wrong idea. And then it turns out fucking Janice, man. Janice is working for Dark Army. And she's like, oh, well, just so you know, she's like, you better clean up Santiago's mess tomorrow with the interview you've been pushing off for weeks. Cause she's like, if not, I'm gonna have to slit your mom. She's like, I'm gonna cut her down. And she uses the word I'm not gonna repeat for the show. And Dom is like, if you touch my mom, I will strangle you to death. And she's like, you can do that, but she's like, that's not going to stop all the other agents from coming for you. And I was like, damn, dude. And it's the way she says it. Man, Janice is like, she doesn't give a shit. And it's Janice, great character casting. Janice, the character sucks, like 100%. And so I was like, fucking Janice, man. So we'll get more Janice as the season goes on. But she walks away, and Dom is like, damn it. So Darlene is going back. They're back at Angela's place, and it's turned into like a frat, not a frat house, but like just like a coke house basically. And Darlene is not dealing with her death well at all. So she's like doing hard drugs, and she's like, hey, give me something stronger. And she's like, a friend or whatever, or a junkie is like, hey, here, take this. And Dom just inhales it and sucks it down. And she's like, you didn't even tell me, you didn't even let me tell you what it was. And Darlene's like, I don't care. Clearly she's like messed up. And then they're like touching Angela's closet, and she throws them out, and she's like, get out of here. And she kicks everyone out. Super sad. And Darlene like goes onto Angela's bed and just like cries herself to sleep. And it's clear she's like really messed up. So that's super depressing. But then we cut back to Elliot, and the two henchmen got him, and there's a dude in a suit, and there's like some sort of super powerful drug that's going to kill Elliot to overdose basically. And they're heating it up, and guess who it is, guys? It's Sam Esmail. This was awesome. I was like looking at it, and I was like, is that Sam? And Elliot's like, hey, I can still help you or whatever. And he's trying to fight for his life. And he turns to him and he's like, say something. And then it's Sam, and he goes, he is actually center shot for once. And he says, goodbye, friend. And I was like, wow, dude, what a line for Sam. And he injects Elliot, and it's a really, really cool like camera sequence because it's all like wonky and it's like going in and out. It's like a fisheye lens almost, and the camera's like going side to side. And Elliot gets a shot of all the other personas. It's his mom, it's young Elliot, and it's Mr. Robot, and they're like, what's going to happen to us? Or the kid asks like, what's going to happen to us? Or she's like, we're all going to go away. And she's like, I knew this was happening. I just didn't think it was going to be like this. And it's like, wow, dude, is Elliot about to die right now? And like the camera slowly pans in and Elliot's done, and we cut to black. And I was like, wow. And like, obviously you don't think like they're going to kill Elliot in the season 4 opener, but it's very like with Sam saying goodbye, friend, it's like a fake, it's like a cop out, or it's like a fake like series finale. But the credits start rolling, and then maybe like 20 seconds later they come back, and someone gives them like a revival thing, whatever it is, like up his nostril, and Elliot comes to life, and it's Philip Price, baby, and he's like, welcome back, Mr. Alderson. And then the real credits cut, and I was like, wow, dude, what a start to season 4, like for real, like insane start. For White Rose, guys, for this one was hard because there was a lot of really good acting. I loved all of the sequences with Mr. Robot and Elliot working together. Just really, really strong episode. But I think the person who stood out the most for me has got to be Michael Christopher as Philip Price. His acting, when we saw him as really cold at the beginning of Mr. Robot, and like emotionless, and which Angela brings up. And, he thinks Angela's safe, and knowing that he's wearing a wire, which makes that conversation so much more depressing. When he tells her like, hey, White Rose conned me, or White Rose conned you. It was a petty slap on the wrist against me, but he's like, you just need to like live the rest of your life and just accept it. And basically what he's saying is that you're going to be safe. Like you'll probably just, I'm sure Darkrai will just let you live out the rest of your life. You just need to basically forget this happened and just go live somewhere. And he's just trying to save her life. And he just knows if she says the wrong thing or if she fights back, like he knows that Dark Army is waiting. And I'm sure they told him beforehand, like, hey, you need to wear a wire. You need to talk to Angela. If she agrees to go away, we're going to let her go away and we'll keep an eye on her. But if she fights back, we're going to kill her. And he had to have known that. And so when she starts fighting back, and he's just like, that's why he's like, shut up, shut up. But when he's like, man, I wish you didn't say that. And his voice cracks. It's so good. It's so sad that he just knows that his daughter's about to die. And so he has to walk away. And he can't deal with it. The way he breaks down, he throws the face, and we never see Philip Price unhinged. I mean, he gets mad, especially against Speedy Wong whenever they're like meeting, and he threw that scene in the dinner party or whatever, when he like lost his job. But Philip Price is like truly, like, he knows he's lost this battle, and he's lost a daughter, and that he finally like has been trying to connect with for so long. And he's like, I sent someone to help you, and he knew she was unraveling, but he's like, maybe we can fix this. And all she had to do was stand down, and that's not what Angela does. And so it's really crazy, and it's super tragic, and it's a beautiful shot. I love the way they shot that, because it's like something that just sticks in your head, like you're not going to forget that. But Michael Christopher is my White Rose, because he's always such a good actor. He's won this award a few times now, but I think his scene was the most impactful of the entire episode, I think. And then he comes back obviously at the end and saves Elliot. So we need to know why he saved him. Is that like a power move? Did he intentionally kill Elliot so he can come back and be like, look, I just killed you and I saved your life? So that should be super interesting to see if Elliot teams up with Philip Price and kind of where that story goes. But for this episode, White Rose goes to Philip Price, Michael Christopher, 100%. So for score, guys, this one's tough because I really enjoyed the episode. I'm trying not to score everything. I gave out a bunch of 10s last season. And so far, season 3, I think, has been the best one. I don't remember a lot of season 4 other than like the ending, but I am excited. So, but I'm trying not to start as like a 9-7 and then be like, oh, and then like, I don't want to score too high, but I also want to give the episode its due diligence. So, for this one, I've kind of been playing around with the number in my head a little bit there. I'm going to go with a 9-2. It's a very good episode. The emotional points are very high. I really like the action sequence, but the number one scene that stood out to me was the opening with Philip Price, and not only because the ending of season 3 was so powerful when music is playing, but then to just start right off, like to just roll right in from previously and then just continue that conversation. Um, Man, just super powerful. Great choice by Sam to go into that, and it's it had a lot of emotional impact where this episode is concerned. And now, like, obviously, Dark Army has been kind of the big bad, and now it's like, okay, we got to take down Dark Army, and we got to stop White Rose at all costs. And it's really interesting to see like how that's going to shake out the rest of the way there. And I remember some parts of season 4, but I'm really excited to see what's next. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of aerial shots in this episode, and that was cool. Mr. Robot uses those a fair amount, usually for like driving sequences, but I think they did a really good job of like when Sam comes in and kills Elliot, and then he walks out. It's just like it shows you like the small space they're in, and like he just does a really good job of changing angles. So the cinematography always good. The score was good, but I didn't think that there was anything that really stood out as much as past episodes where I didn't really have goosebumps too much in this episode. So they've just set the bar so high that like if they're not hitting that bar, I'm like, okay, that was really, really good. It's just not as good as maybe some past episodes. So that's why we're giving it a low 9. Still a very good episode. Kicked off season 4. The ending was great. I wanted to start episode 2 like right away, but we're gonna give it the week break and wait for next week. All right, guys. Well, that's it. That's another episode. That is episode 32 of Hello Friends. We are into season 4 now, guys, the final season. We got 12 more episodes to go, so we're getting down there. The final season is a little bit longer than I think the other ones. I think it's the longest season of the series, so super, 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 super excited. Yeah, I cannot wait to see. I can't wait to. I don't want to say I can't wait to wrap it up because I'm definitely gonna be sad when it's over. But it's been a journey, and I'm glad we're kind of getting towards the end here, and I'm really excited to see kind of relive everything the journey up till the ending there. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Thanks for checking out Project Potter. Check out the other content on the channel. Check out the other Hello Friends. Obviously, we've come a long way, guys. We had poor audio, poor lighting. And hopefully these are both better now. And it's been like 9 months probably since we started this journey, and some time was off, but for the most part, we've gone week to week. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Check out the channel, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, guys, goodbye, friend.